It's the Late Challenge, episode 10. I'm Gareth Roberts, he's Paul Cope, and it's yet more nonsense. A bit of footy, talking about food, crisps, the internet, bit of everything really. First of all, I want to say, again, nice one for the support so far. Keep on sharing, liking, following the socials, all of that kind of thing. That all helps. Kick off on TikTok as well if you want. Plenty of people have been. They don't like the fact that you argued with the train conductor. I've had people stopping me at the match about it and everything, mate.
It's great, isn't it?
They were on your side at the match, by the way. It was only terms and conditions nonsense who were against you.
That was my, as we said, we've been chatting about it off air. Like, that was my favourite comment. But it is mad, isn't it? Like, it's something I just love about the internet. I think it's one of my favourite things about the internet. I remember a couple of lads at the Anfield Wrap once when we were chatting about stuff like this, and they were like, "You read the comments?" And I was like, "Yeah, don't you?" And they're like, "No, keeps me up at night. Like, can't get to sleep if I read the comments. Like, really gets to my soul of who I am as a person." I'm like, nah. It's funny, isn't it?
It's just
like,
blurred. Half the time you haven't even either watched the thing you've made or read the thing you've made. They make some massive assumption about you.
Who you are as a human.
Yeah, and you're just sort of sound. Yeah. And like, really bored. Like lads, I mean, I don't know how many haters are actually watching or listening to the show. I suspect it's more, do just look at the clips. But, just coming on and going, whoa, original. That really cuts deep, boys, you know what I mean?
My favourite thing about it is, but you're the one taking time to fucking respond to a video of
the internet's weird, isn't it? Social media is weird. I feel like we could do it as a show.
I do. I always do that. A part of me goes, I don't understand, and then like my real job side of me goes, I do understand. I know exactly why people are doing this shit. But it entertains me that people are knocking around thinking that they're the sound ones shouting at people on the internet, and you're like, just don't watch the videos.
Shouting at people on the internet is really good. A really good place to go into your correspondence. So Paul left a message on our YouTube channel about our chat the other week about email etiquette, etc. He said, "Nice one, lads. When I was player manager of a local footy team in the early 90s, I was hauled up before the league committee for sending an email in capital letters. I actually laughed out loud when they said I was shouting at a league official in an email. How the fuck does an email shout? I didn't know the etiquette or where the caps lock was. In solidarity."
That's the best point, isn't it? I didn't know where the caps lock was.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even,
but also, like, who's decided that that's shouting? You know what I mean?
Didn't you think that though? Like, I've thought.
I've heard people say it before, and I've probably said it to people, but it's just like, where was it decided?
No one's ever like, there's no rules, are there? There isn't a rule book.
Yeah, like when you sign up for Gmail, it says, by the way, and you put an email in caps, that means you shout.
Maybe it's time we started that.
Well, the little things have been brought in. I was just thinking when you were saying about that then, like the way Twitter says, like, it's done it to me a few times where it goes like, people don't normally speak to people like this. Are you sure you want to send this tweet? When you're like, sure you can't, or whatever. So that, like,
I love that though. People don't usually talk to people like this. You're like, you're not from where we're from, are you, Twitter?
They do. Lemon Seamus as well. Lemon Seamus 7418 even. He also commented on the email situation saying a mate of mine once put kind retards in an email to our boss. Didn't hear the end of that one. What else? Oh yeah, I just want to say, first of all, if you can see like a big pile of crisps behind the various things on the table for those of you who are watching, this is very kindly being provided by John Kennedy. Also for those watching, we've got Is Right John on our little board there. John left us a load of crisps and some Barry's tea. Loads and loads of Irish crisps here, mate. I mean, like, it would be a show to go through them all. Some of the ones that have been sent, he's left for, as I've heard people say, a boss, by the way. So I'm looking forward to some of these. Remember we were talking about, that's them. Them bacon ones are meant to be tremendous.
Potatoes.
Yeah, they're meant to be really good.
They look like they'd be like right up my street.
Yeah, they're meant to be good. He's also sent us some buffalo flavour crisps there as well.
Nice.
Which is an interesting one.
Traditional Irish buffalo.
Oh, yeah. Them ones like roaming the streets of Dublin. I mean, on the subject of mad flavours as well, which we also touched on, didn't we, last week? Adam sent us an email. He said some mad crisps in Singapore. Said, morning, just got back from working in Singapore. If anyone wants a guaranteed loss, Get on these mad fellas on the second row. Might try and bring some back to Liverpool next time. Now, obviously, you can't see his email, but the crisps you are referring to, there is spicy salted egg salmon skin crisps. Sound lovely, them, don't they? Salted egg fish skin flavour and smoked cheese salmon skin. Oh, and also salted egg potato chips there as well. Yeah, I mean, if I ever go to Singapore, I think I'll be swerving those flavours very much. That they sound.
It is funny though, isn't it? Yeah, but it is funny that comes back to like our thing. There's two lads in Singapore doing this same podcast, and someone sent them a photo of just our crisp aisle, haven't they? So you see what they've got? Barbecue beef, prawn cocktail,
buffalo.
Yeah.
Loads of people sent us this one as well. It was a tweet from the Lancashire Hot Pots, I believe they're a band. He put it's all. Well, they put it's all happening in Hull. And it was an advert for a bottomless crisp party. The best 90 minutes of your life, it promises. Bread, butter and sauces included for butties. And then like a load of, like it says walkers, quavers, knickknacks, frazzles, hula hoops, discos, skips, wheat crunchies, space raiders, etc. $12.95. Now, I was looking at this and I was thinking, so basically you're saying I can go in and eat as many crisps as I want. $12.95 seems a lot, I've got to say, because crisps are what, a quid or less, depending on size of bag, obviously.
90 minutes though.
Then a bit of bread.
This is coming from the man who thinks he can eat a pie in 10 seconds. You can
Didn't say 10.
I know, I'm exaggerating for dramatic effect.
Still need to do that, don't we?
Yeah, but 13 quid. That's.
But how much crisps do you want? How many
crisps an hour and a half?
You wouldn't, would you? You'd be full. It'd be salt overload, that as well. I just think it's a bit of a weird concept.
But I understand. They're clever throwing in the butties because you're not going to do more than 3 butties in there.
Well, I looked it up. I looked it up to get like the full marketing spiel on it as well. So the full description on the website of the gaff that's doing it says, get ready to munch and crunch at our bottomless crisp buffet for 90 minutes. Indulge in all your favourite current and retro crisps, including Space Invaders. Space Invaders? Come on, boys. Discos.
Did they put Space Invaders on their website?
Yeah, they put Invaders. Discos, knickknacks, hula hoops and more. Don't forget the bread and butter to make crisp butties. And as you enjoy your crisps, don't miss out on our fantastic bar menu full of handcrafted cocktails and beers. The fun doesn't stop there. It sounds so much fun.
I love lines like that. That's like what people do showing a speech where they go, like, they do a line where they think it's a joke. And then they go, but in all seriousness afterwards. And you're like, but if you didn't laugh, if no one laughed at the bit before you go, but in all seriousness, like, yeah,
doesn't
it
work.
Didn't work now.
But the fun doesn't stop there. We got a live DJ, it says, who will keep the party going all night long.
Your editor side's coming out of this as well, isn't it? Fucking grammar, lads.
He'll keep the party going all night long with all the best cheesy hits. This line gets me though. Dress in your comfiest snack eating attire. Like you've got clobber that you wear to eat.
Yeah.
Like, hang on, I'll whack that on. That's what I have when I have 12 crisp butties.
We should have that.
Get ready to enjoy the night with friends while munching on the best crisps. Don't miss out on this one-of-a-kind party experience. Get your tickets now before they sell out. I don't reckon it's selling out. I don't reckon it's selling out.
How many tickets are they trying to sell? Do you know, I've just got onto on the something I got onto the first time I looked at the sign that was on the tweet was how many of the crisps they've put up, obviously, as their poster crisps we've already picked.
I know.
I reckon we've done 80% to 90% of them. But something I've just noticed is bread, butter and sauces included for butties. Sauces on a crisp butty.
What are
you thinking on that?
No.
We've had a couple of people I've mentioned, but we ain't talking about crisp butties. I don't think about salad cream and stuff. Would you have any sauce on a crisp butty?
No.
Just butter, surely.
The flavour's provided by the fucking crisp.
Yeah.
You're mad. I mean, I don't want to judge.
Are you saying no to it though? I think people were saying we should go to it.
I'm not going to Hull for that.
Imagine all the way to Hull for that. Imagine getting there. Like, where have you come from, lads? Liverpool all the way from Liverpool,
Yeah, just fancied some crisps.
Yeah. my girlfriend said to me while we were on holiday, she said, "Do you know what I love about this?" She went, "I love the way there's like a world out there on the internet think you fucking love crisps." She went, "I'll see you eat like one bag every couple of weeks."
Well, you know what happened to me? I was in a Central Station, and you know, like obviously if you go down to actually get the train, like there's no signal down there. I mean, there is like Merseyrail Wi-Fi, but it's dead. It's shit. Yeah, it's dead hit and miss. So if you stay on like the higher level, obviously you can still get like 4G and you can still look at stuff on your phone. So like if my train's a while, obviously like sit up there. Anyway, I was sitting up there looking at something on my phone, eating a packet of crisps, and this fella comes up to me and goes, "It's true, you do love crisps."
I love that. It's true. Like there's so the rumours. He's going home, going to his family. I saw Robbo.
Yeah,
it's
confirmed,
true.
like in the mirror and all that. Spotted.
Yeah, that'd be the next thing, won't it?
Yeah, amazing. Well, we'll see it over on the crisps, and we've got crisps all over the table, etc. What do you want to do first? We can do where we are on the polls and our latest crisp. Or no, I've got a little thing for you, haven't I? Little special treat.
Oh fuck yeah!
So
I forgot about
my mate Wardy from who was my housemate at uni, mate. He got in touch with me to say he'd spotted this mad product. So basically, you know, we've talked at length, haven't we, about people's mad combos of food and stuff like that. Now, it's one thing, isn't it, when like it's a person just doing that in the kitchen and they discover something a little bit mad and go, yeah, sound, I like that and I'm not arsed and I'm going to eat it. I get that. It's another thing, surely, when like, a company is making mad combos where you go, what the fuck? So what Wardy's arranged for us to receive here is Tato, and before you all fucking start, it's the Northern Ireland one. Tato, cheese and onion chocolate with real crisp pieces. Now, I just don't fucking get this. Yeah, well, there's your bar.
Just something that's just occurred to me, which we haven't even talked about.
Go on.
What's the difference between Tato Northern Ireland and Tato Southern Ireland? Like, are they different?
Don't start this again.
No, but is it like twin brothers?
It's two different companies.
Yeah, but why have they got the same name? Like, is it like twin brothers you separated? And do you know what I mean? Is there some like mad story behind it? Because this is fucking. So I'm sure the Tato in Southern Ireland. Are you having a bit?
Huh?
Have I got to taste it? Honestly, like when you told me we're going to taste this, my brain was like, I'm not sure I want to put it in my mouth.
Just taste the chocolate. Where's the cheese and onion bit?
Oh, that's a bit disappointing. I wanted it.
Where's the real crisp pieces? Is it like an April Fool?
With real crisp pieces?
That's what it says on the front of the packet. There's no fucking crisp in that. Oh, hang on.
Have you got a bit?
Something a bit crunchy then. I'm still not getting any cheese and onion vibes
at all. It does stink a bit.
Stink. Fucking stinks that, lad.
Yeah, there are crispy bits in it, aren't there?
Oh, have you got some?
Yeah.
I mean, have I ended up with like, you know, like when you get like a Kit Kat and it's just solid chocolate?
You've just got no fucking taste buds there.
There's not any bits of crisp in that. You can't see no bits of crisp.
That's not just normal chocolate. Oh, that's disgusting. No, you just fucking chomping away on that.
I'm just not getting any vibes off it at all. It's just like shit chocolate.
It's shit chocolate because it's got cheese and onion in it.
I can't taste it.
Can you taste any of that?
Maybe we've got COVID.
Imagine. That's how we discover you're dying. We come back next week. Yeah, he's gone. What happened?
It's like an aftertaste of it, isn't it? Yeah, I'm getting it now.
It's absolutely fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Why would you ever come up with that?
Nice one, Wardy. Anyway, I mean, he said himself it was probably going to be fucking horrible.
It is fucking horrible.
I don't think it's as bad.
I want Jacob to taste some.
I don't think it's as bad as I expected. Yeah, do you want some, Jacob? Do you want to give your thoughts?
Yeah, take it. It's one of my favourite things in life, you know. When people usually do it with drinks. They'll have a drink or something and go, "Oh my god, that's disgusting. Have a taste." And I'm always like, "No, you're all right. I'll take your word for it."
It's not a big selling point.
I'm not
I'm getting like major vibes off it now. That like afterwards,
proper after. Oh, that might ruin the whole.
It might stink actually.
First impression is it just tastes like shit chocolate.
Well, give it a minute.
See, that's what I said.
I've got better. I've clearly got more sensitive taste buds than you two.
I'm getting a bit of an aftertaste.
The aftertaste kicked in for me immediately.
Yeah, the aftertaste. There's a big aftertaste actually now. That's coming.
I'm not getting the crisp crunch that
There's no crisp. Where's the bits of the real crisp? Blag that. Okay, so there's 2 rounds of the Crunchin challenge, isn't there? Obviously, that we haven't talked
we
about.
were in here last week.
Yeah, because we weren't here last week. We recorded 2 in a row, and then Kopi went on holiday. Did you have a good holiday?
I did. Thanks, mate. Yeah.
Very good. So the last show was Royster's T-bone steak, which was my choice versus Kopi's Monster Munch roast beef. Lots of people said like they were really conflicted, but it just doesn't reflect it at all in the vote. Like Monster Munch roast beef's absolutely romped home with 62.2% of the vote, although only 806 votes on that particular one.
Yeah, do you know what's interesting though? Monster Munch is a clear favourite of the public, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's 2 wins for Monster Munch. 2 clear wins.
It is indeed.
And people still commenting that neither of us have picked Flaming Hot. So that would... Oh, here we go. Look at the look on your face then. I wonder what Robbo picked this week. So we're not having a Crunchin challenge this week, everyone.
Get it! So, and the week...
So... Even as I was saying it, I was like, how have you not predicted this? I should have just brought them in just to avoid the week, shouldn't I? That's what I should have done tactically.
Oh, that is right.
Brilliant.
And the week before was Wheat Crunchies, bacon flavour against Salt and Shake.
And so I want to go back to this.
Wheat Crunchies won.
Yeah, Wheat Crunchies won. Again, by a fair distance.
Yeah, 57.7.
And a few people said to me, like, my nostalgia, and I said at the time I was taking a chance, but my nostalgia play was a risk that didn't pay off, which they were right. But it was funny. It was one of our mates, like, I think it was one of our mates, or screenshot, or it might have been someone on Twitter, or both, screenshotted your face when I revealed the Salt and Shake. And I think even you thought you'd lost. I think, like, because Wheat Crunchies is a powerhouse, I think. But your reaction was, that was a good selection.
Yeah, I thought it was a good shout. I thought your shouts the last 2 weeks. Like, I'm not surprised by the Monster Munch roast beef at all, because I actually love Monster Munch. Do you know what I mean?
But remember, it was funny.
Which is why my choice this week is.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. Someone had said me,
Flaming Hot Monster Munch.
Tiny bag that though, innit?
I know it's a multi-pack one.
Oh, right. We'll do this then, because this is my only chance of winning. Open it and tell me how many crisps are in there. I reckon there's 7 crisps.
Nah, there's more than 7.
Are they small then? Do they make them smaller for the small packets?
That's still a decent claw.
That's all right.
Wow. They're good. All Monster Munch are good.
Monster Munch is a good crisp.
They're hard to speak with them in your mouth.
Speak with.
Okay, so that's my crisp. What have you got?
So I've gone back to... Because we're running out of choices now,
aren't we?
We are struggling now.
I was going to say, yeah, we want to know what you think here. Like, when do we call time on crisps and move on? Bearing in mind, Elon Musk's fucking about to take Twitter polls off Twitter, the bell end.
I know.
So we're going to have to find another way to actually conduct polls.
I think we could start a campaign to fuck that, though. That's a crazy one to do.
Yeah.
No one's like
what?
He's not taking them off, is he? He's just making it only paid, verified accounts.
Yeah, you've got to have the blue tick or whatever.
What's the fucking point in that?
I know.
Like, sound if you want to vote on, something important, but people who are doing polls on Twitter, it doesn't fucking matter, does it? It doesn't matter if bots are voting. Yeah. So I've gone back to me toddler. Me toddler. And these are, that shout back in the day, which I loved it back in the day. Like I'm talking about years ago in that episode 3 or whatever, when someone said, why do I keep picking toddler crisps? These are the most toddler of toddler crisps, I think. Skips. Prawn cocktail.
I've been really wondering what to do about anything that's prawn cocktailed, flavoured all the way along.
Well, I've been torn on skips all the way through because...
because you're thinking, you're not just thinking, I like these. No, you're thinking, what will people vote for?
Well, I went too early. I went on just what I like but I did also think people would like Watsits and what was the one I did? Quavers. But it turns out that's the thing I realised after a few rounds. Cheese doesn't go down well with the public, which surprised me.
It's like what we just said about the internet. Like someone put when it was Roysters against Monster Munch roast beef, someone put fuck beef crisps. I was like, whoa! Really strong opinions on beef crisps.
But it's funny, isn't it? And it does sum it up. Like, you've got some people saying, Clash of the Titans this week. And then you've got some people saying, won't even vote this week. That's such a shit, choice.
Should we do fact of the week?
It's about skip.
It's not about skips. It's about it. So this one,
I fucking love skips,
So on this week's fact of the week, it's almost like a story which will then debunk with the fact. But I like it though.
You can debunk your own story. That's like ChatGPT.
So it's, I mean, it's just sort of like, it's a nice story, I think. And it's like, I don't know, I think it'll like pique interest. It did me. So I'll see if you feel the same way. So, you know, on Rodney Street, and you know, there's like a little church, which is now being turned into like, I think, student accommodation.
Yeah.
But there's like a little graveyard next to it with like railings around it. And you know, there's a little pyramid in there.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
No. Go on.
So it's the pyramid of St Andrew's Churchyard. And basically the story is that William Mackenzie is inside this pyramid. But he's sitting in there. Do you know what I mean? Like upright. Like he's not like buried in the normal fashion. And the story goes that he was a gambler who made a deal with the devil. And in exchange for the world's greatest lucky streak at playing poker, he'd hand over his soul. So he came up with this plan so that he could cheat the devil, basically. Left instructions after his death that he should be entombed above ground, sitting in his best clothes at a card table while holding a royal flush. And this way he'd never be laid to rest in the ground and never fulfill his contract with the devil. So the story goes to this day that his finely dressed corpse still sits upright at the card table inside the pyramid on Rodney Street with his skeleton fingers still clutching the winning hand.
Like something out of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I mean, it's a boss story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like whoever's come up with this originally, like it feels Tom Slemon-esque. So maybe it is him. Yeah, so it then goes on to say his plan would have been perfect, except that he forgot that his soul needed to go somewhere, and his decision to keep his body above ground not only prevented him from going into the devil's hands, but also kept him from going upstairs. And so the story goes that, you know, like a man in you know, old clothes matching his description can be seen wandering aimlessly around Rodney Street, etc. And you know, when people claim to have seen, heard that, he was a civil engineer, made lots of money, left loads of money in his will to his family. I mean, this was 1851 that he died, and he left £341,000 to his brother, which like equates to like millions now. Do you know what I mean?
From his winning streak, did it say?
Well, so this is where it gets a bit interesting, because when you like, this is where it gets debunked almost straight away. So if you actually read the inscription on the pyramid, it says that in the vault beneath lie the remains of William Mackenzie, blah, 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 died 29th of October, 1851, age 57. Also his wife, who died 1838, age 48. It was erected by his brother Edward as a token of love in 1868. Which is like, what, 17 years after he died. So he's not sat there at a fucking card table clutching a hand, is he? Like, let's be honest, you know, 17 years after his death, it can't be true, etc. But one Liverpool site that I read that I enjoyed, like they threw this extra line, and it said, he was actually known, though, among his peers as being exceptionally lucky, and he had an uncanny ability to succeed in business. And his skills were so renowned that it was sometimes thought he was able to read people's minds. So it leaves that little bit of doubt. Like,
did he do a deal?
Ooh.
Do you know what I love about that story? It's a cracker. It's another cracker. And if anyone is visiting the city, go up and see it.
Yeah.
I remember, I've always looked at that little speck, because Rodney Street, was the same for you when you were growing up? Rodney Street was like the rich street.
Yeah.
Like the posh street. It was where
it's all like
famous doctors and
physiotherapists and all that, isn't it?
Yeah, big houses and all that. But I love the way, if he had like the original stories, if you do a deal with the devil, you can just get out of it by not being buried underground. I know. I can't imagine the devil would be letting you get away with it that easy.
Yeah, you'd think. But I enjoyed that, because I mean, like, you know, I've wondered what the crack is about the pyramid type of thing and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'll give you a fact with a bit of myth sewn around the edges. Okay, so that's the fact of the week. Sporting challenge. I thought we'd do the Reds, a little bit of the Reds.
Yeah, we rarely talk
about Liverpool, do we? And obviously yesterday, well, at the time of recording yesterday, Liverpool drew with Arsenal at Anfield. Should have won the game. And it was so, you know, especially second half, considering that we were playing what are considered to be the second favourites now to win the league. City are now the favourites on the back of this result. Yeah. You know, they played really well. They put them under loads of pressure. They had 19 shots in the opposition box, the most efforts Arsenal have faced in a Premier League match since data became available, which is only 03-04, so not quite as impressive as it sounds. But on the flip side, mate, obviously, fact remains that they're 29 points behind Arsenal. They've lost 9 in the league, 8 of those away. They've lost 14 games, all competitions, which is 33% of all games played this season. And that's also like, that disparity between home and away is just absolutely wild, isn't it? I mean, you know, I was there, I was on the cop, and the atmosphere got really feral, and it was boss, and it was, you know, proper like hairs on the back of your neck, and it was like everyone was getting stuck into Arsenal. Arsenal were doing loads of time wasting and rolling over and fake injuries. Obviously, Granit Xhaka goes head to head with Trent, which really sort of fired everyone up. So, you know, that obviously helps. The crowd helps. Anfield helps. The familiarity helps. But to have won 44 points this season in the Premier League, 31 at home and only 13 away, it's wild, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, Southampton have won more games and they're bottom of the league. Leicester have won more and they're second bottom of the league.
That's wild, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I spotted...
It's so bad on the road.
But another mad thing I spotted, our goal difference is plus 15. We've got plus 16 from 2 games.
Yeah.
We beat Bournemouth 9-0 and United 7-0. Yeah. And our goal difference is worse than it is just from them 2 games. That's crazy.
I know. It's absolutely mad.
That's how shit we've been.
The other thing as well that I spotted is that, you know, Klopp, and we've done Klopp before, haven't we? I think we're both, you know, hugely supportive of him, and rightly so. Yeah. But he's now the 3rd favourite with the bookies to be the next Premier League manager sacked. You've got Moyes and Steve Cooper, who are sort of much shorter odds. But Klopp's odds have come in. So they were 16-1 the start of last week, and he's into about 10 now. And I think obviously that's on the basis of top 4, you know, is sort of reaching like miracle status now for Liverpool to get there. They're as wide as 12-1 now to get top 4. Do you fear for him in any way? Do you think about, you know, I'm not trying to be like controversial or cause anything here, but I said on something else last week that if the start of next season's bad, we know what the media is like. We know how, you know, everything becomes crisis and it's all over the place. You know, a back-to-back of this type of season, he would be under pressure even if he's Jürgen Klopp, wouldn't he?
Yeah, under pressure, yes, but I suppose it depends what you mean by under pressure. Like under pressure from where? Because even he's said like there's a difference between going online and on social media and being in the ground. Of course, the ground hasn't changed at all throughout this period because it's generally people with that same attitude as me and you, which is, and it's funny even watching the likes of, I'm going to talk about Gary Neville a lot in this bit probably, but even the likes of Gary Neville says things like they've got enough credit in the bank to get through this, the players and the manager, which I think is true for most sensible fans. And it would be dead interesting for me to see, and you'll probably never get to see this, but the FSG out brigade on Twitter, like where do they sit with the Klopp? Like, are they backing Klopp? I don't know, that's a generalisation because they're all different people, but because the reality is Jürgen Klopp won't lose his job because of FSG. That's what I come down to. I think they're sensible enough, and I've always said this about them. Yeah, they've made loads of mistakes. Some of them really big mistakes. They've apologised for things. They've fucked up. But overall, I think most sensible fans would say they've been good. Could they have done more? Yeah. Could they have spent more money? Yeah. Could they have invested more? Yeah. And at the same time, for what they are, for the type of owners they are, you know, that i.e. they're not a fucking country backed by oil. Like. They're individuals, they're an investment fund. I think they've done brilliant. And the biggest thing is they're sensible. Like whenever I've seen John Henry talk especially, but the people around him, like they're sensible. And it comes back to something me and you said a few weeks ago when we talked about Klopp. The question is always the same for me. If you want your manager sacked, who do you want who's better than him? Yeah. And I think they're so sensible, they'd be like, there's no one better than him that we could get. Like, so what's the point?
Well, you're seeing that
if he still wants his job,
you're seeing that with like, obviously, like, you know, we regard ourselves obviously and rightly as a bigger club than the likes of, you know, Leicester or whatever. Yeah. But, you know, like Brendan's gone from Leicester.
Yeah, wild.
And then they can't get anyone.
Yeah, well, have you seen it just this morning? It said they've ended talks with Jesse Marsch.
Yeah, so that's ended. And now names are getting thrown in like Allardyce, Pulis.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's like they just want like a firefighter.
Well, look at
until
Palace.
the end of the
Palace,
season.
the same thing.
Hodgson,
you go Patrick Vieira. You're going to do this long-term plan, building for the future and all that. Then you sack Vieira and you go back to Hodgson because you were shitting yourself. And you're like, lads, this is why you're all fucked constantly, because none of you have got the balls to just stick with it. Look at Arsenal, in fairness to them, and they run a similar model to us. They put Arteta in, they gave him time. And look at what it's born. Like, I know they're 29 ahead of us, but I think it might have been James Pearce was saying before the game, I think they finished up like 24 points behind us last year. What a swing in points that is. That is wild. I remember years ago, people were saying, like, if you finish 10 points behind first place, you'll never make that up in one season. You've got to do it over two. That's a fucking ridiculous swing that they've done. And it just shows you, and it just shows you how quickly things turn around. Yeah, just with a few players and with a change in mentality or whatever. So, do you think I don't think he's under any threat.
Do you think though there's potentially too much change though coming? So, you know, I look at, like, you know, Firmino, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, even like Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, Milner, Adrian, yeah, maybe less so with him. But you know what I mean? They're all out of contract this summer. They're all likely to go. And they're just people who are out of contract. There might also be, you know, players that he decides to move on, that he sells, whatever. And then people are talking about big numbers coming the other way. You know, people are saying things like, you know, it could be like that summer with Houllier where he's got loads of them all.
Lads.
Yeah. But Klopp said himself, well, we won't be getting like 10 in. You know, and that was the phrase he used. So we won't be getting 10 in. So all of a sudden you're like, well, what, you know, is there enough money? Is there enough knowledge? Is there enough, you know, like, do the owners want to do this huge spend, which a lot of people are advocating? Or is there something else going, you know, because even like, you know, from yesterday, the Arsenal game, the experiments, which it looked like with Trent, is interesting, isn't it? You know, he was like pivoting into midfield basically and then, you know, Kanate was shifting across and all that. All of a sudden, you know, we're almost seeing what loads of people have called for, Trent in midfield. And it's like, is that an experiment based on someone they're not going to get then? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be clickbaity of being accused of that in the last week. But do you know what I mean? I just think like it's a lot of change, even like, you know, the sporting director type situation and all that. Yeah. That's unresolved. There seems to be a bit of, you know, a bit of beef about the medical staff and things like that as well. It just seems to be like there's potentially an awful lot of flux and change in one summer. And when there's an awful lot of flux and change resulting, we'll be straight back up there.
Well, it's really interesting because it ties into stuff I dug out, you know, that we didn't get round to a few weeks ago. And
the two great sides thing.
The two big sides, and is that possible? And how many people have ever done it? And the reality is very few people have ever done it. And the reason I was digging that out and looking at it was just to say, like, what a big thing it is. Like, if Jürgen Klopp does this and rebuilds a side and wins another league, that's the big one. Wins another league, or let's say Champions League, if you either of those two things, he's in literally legendary. I know people would already call him a legend, but he's literally he's up with Shankly, Ferguson, Busby, like literally the greatest ever. That's what he's pitching at here, which is no mean feat, and something which was, when I was looking at the previous eras of people who've done it, let me see if I can find it. The dead interesting thing for me was when Shankly did it, if you just look at who won the league every year, do you know, in that phase, there was no dominant power. We were the first dominant power. It was someone different won it every year until we got, you know, under Paisley, we just became this force, which I don't, like most Liverpool fans, I'm not a big one for like the past and like remembering stuff and all that, but every time I go back and look at this, I do think Paisley's era is the one that fucked up Liverpool fans, like genetically, because when you look at it, it's just, every time I go back to it, it's off the chart.
Yeah.
It's like, I think he was manager for 9 years and won 6 leagues and 3 European Cups. That's just, like, in any conversation about the greatest manager of all time.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, like the expectation's wild, isn't it?
That's where I come back to.
Because it's like, you know, I'm looking at it now and I'm trying to look at it, you know, like sort of forensically and take a little bit sort of a step back. And, I'm thinking about, we all want to bounce back, of course we do. We all want Liverpool winning 90-odd points again and challenging for titles. But then, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, United, City, there's some of those sides there have had a bad year. Will they have a second bad year? Newcastle, we know, will now go and spend a load of money. Chelsea have got lads who can't even get changed in the changing room because they've got that many players.
Yeah.
They've got 11v11 and 9v9 in training. They've got that many players.
Is wild.
It's absolutely mad.
And by the way, we're not talking about just loads of average players.
I know.
We're talking international.
So there's a possibility
footballers.
Diffuse and they become a good side, albeit the Lampard thing's wild as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going back to the thing of sacking a manager and not actually having a plan. So I don't know. It's just sort of of course, I want Liverpool to win absolutely everything every single season. But there's loads of factors Liverpool can't control here. Do you know what I mean? Whatever they do.
Well, even think, something I was thinking at the weekend, right? We've been so obsessed with City for the past few years. Earlier this season, when it looked like City weren't going to do a 90-point season, I saw people already fuming, going it's fucking ridiculous. We've done all these 90-point seasons, and the one season they're not going to do it. We go shit, so we don't. But then Arsenal have come from nowhere. Arsenal could do 100 points this year, and all right, they probably won't, but they're going to be up there because they've replaced us basically. So we could have had an amazing season and been pipped by Arsenal now. Yeah. And I think this is the mad thing. Everyone needs to get their head round. Jürgen Klopp could do an amazing job and build a second side, and we might not win the league for 30 years again, because this era has never been known before in football, where there's these powerhouses backed by state money.
Yeah.
And I was even looking at the other day about the league itself. Unai Emery is the manager of Aston Villa now. The level of coaches in this league now, and the money that's spent by each of them, it's off the chart. So I think everyone needs to sort of reassess expectations, but also even if Klopp is going to do this, it's going to take him time. I was thinking it's almost like pretend it's his first season coming in again, and we've just appointed him as our manager. How happy would you be? If Klopp wasn't our manager now, we were having the season we were having, we finished 7th or 8th, and then we brought in Klopp and spent 300 million. Everyone would be happy. But where would your expectations be about? Would you expect to win the league in the next season? No. Imagine him coming in, he'd be doing the same thing. He'd be saying, my aim is to win the league within 4 seasons. And I think that's where we're back again. It's back to, because the reality is we are a completely different project to everything else. There's a big trend point in this for me. I was thinking about this over the weekend. I think when you build a model the way we've built a football club, you can't afford to have Trent Alexander-Arnold is a £150 million footballer. You can't afford for him to be a right back. So you can debate anything else all you want, but he needs to be in a more influential position on the pitch. He can't. You wouldn't have let's say
our only have a look at it.
Well, think about Gerrard. When we had Gerrard for most of his career at Liverpool, he was one of the world's best players in an average side. We wouldn't have played him right back. And by the way, he was one of the best right backs I've ever seen when he did play right. There was a couple of games he did play right back. Fucking hell, lad. But you wouldn't have played him there. Why? Because he can be more influential in other parts of the pitch. And I think that's the point for us with Trent now. Again, Gary Neville, I heard a bit of his podcast before it came in this morning, and he was saying, trying to convert him into a midfielder is harder than making him a better right back. And he showed a bit of naivety there, because what he doesn't realise, I'm guessing, is Trent wasn't a right back.
Yeah.
He was saying, to be that midfielder, you need to have played hundreds of games in your youth career. And you're like, well, he did. He played as number 6 for Pep.
Yeah, they coached him to be a right back because they said that's where you can break in.
And that's what I was thinking, go back in time. Yeah. Why is he a right back? He was a right back because that was the best way into the squad at the time.
And also, as we saw in the game against Arsenal, he's comfortable being further up the pitch. Oh, his passing's unbelievable. He can take a player on. He's got a shot on him.
He's unbelievable. I think it's still, and especially because of the shit he's getting now, people forget just how good a footballer he is. Yeah. He is phenomenal. Some of his passing is just off the charts. I think if you played him further forward, he'd be like Kevin De Bruyne. You would be getting 10 to 15 goals out of him a season.
Well, Klopp, just in case you need reminding, of course, won the Champions League, Super Cup, World Club Cup, Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, 6 trophies, 30-year wait for the title, finally ended. I've dug out a little stat that maybe people haven't heard. So there've been 21 full-time appointments as boss or bosses of Liverpool FC. 8 of those came after Kenny delivered the title in 1990. Obviously, one of them was like him again, but, you know, I'm trying to make this base, you know, understandable. The 9th did deliver the league. Those 8 didn't. And Klopp's win percentage, which is still just shy of 60%, even with this season taken into consideration, is bettered only marginally by Dalglish's first spell in the modern day running of Liverpool, without going back way back when. And the other thing as well, I think, is that, you know, people are on about spending money, want us to spend money, putting pressure on the owners to spend money, banging on about it every day on social media. I want them to spend money as well, and I want them to spend big money, because you look at his signings, the big ones have been good. Yeah. The big ones have worked. You know, Naby aside, really, I would say, there's not many you can point at and say, well, when he was given the big dough, it didn't work out. And you can do that at other clubs. You can look at lots of other clubs and say, he was shit, that was a bad buy. So I think they should have trust in him to buy big. And who knows with the Bellingham thing and all that, we'll see. Like, I had an Arsenal fan literally laugh in my face about the idea that we can still get Bellingham. And I'm like, we're still Liverpool, mate. We're still Liverpool.
Why?
Just, he just like, why would he choose Liverpool when you look at how Liverpool have performed this season? Why? And it's like, because he wants to play for Klopp. Because he wants to play for Liverpool. Because he wants to be part of the next team.
Exactly. Well, if you listen to Bellingham talk, he talks about, like, why is he at Dortmund? Why did he pick Dortmund?
Yeah.
He's got a career progression plan. And I've heard him talk about, like, playing for that type of club. In the same way, why did Klopp become Liverpool manager? We had no right to get Jürgen Klopp as our manager when we did we? Why did he want to come to us? Because he loves the romance.
He had the choice of, Man United tried to get him, and he said it was like Disneyland, didn't he? I think City had a sniff, Spurs had a sniff. I remember him being like front page of, I think it was World Soccer or 442, one of those magazines, saying, like, the best manager in the world, like manager, the hottest prospect of managerial stock, basically, was Jürgen Klopp, and we got him.
Yeah. Well, and the irony as an Arsenal fan saying to you, why would he sign for you? The second half of yesterday is why he would sign for us. Because it's dead funny for me now watching the game at home, and because going the game obviously gives you an insight that most people don't get, because most people don't get to go to the game, like we talked about the other week. But being at home gives you a completely different insight as well, because you get to see different angles and you hear what people are saying. And something I'm loving watching at the moment, and this has happened for years now, and usually as people retire, both Roy Keane and Gary Neville does it more freely now because he's used to it. But you might not have seen this. Roy Keane was doing it in the studio, and he got asked about, like, Anfield and this place and the magic and all that. And he just had that, like, wry smile.
He loves it, doesn't he?
Where he just said, he said
it before.
Like, I'm an ex-United player, so I've got to be careful. But he went, there's something about this place.
Ferguson always says it.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like, you know, like, he was the absolute, like, you know, don't know, like the Darth Vader of football, wasn't he? You're absolutely hated. And, like, you know, he always says it now. He said it multiple times. But it's all right, though, because Bob from Stoke says it's a myth.
Yeah.
So we should listen to Bob from Stoke,
I remember tweeting that ages ago. Like, when I was doing loads with the Anfield rap and all that, and going the game every week and really into it. And with all the people, and people would come and sing, all those
Where's
clubs.
Your
famous atmosphere? Stoke could sing it. Derby would sing it. Fucking Middlesbrough, and you'd be like, lads, it never has and never will be for you.
Yeah.
The famous atmosphere has always been for Real Madrid and Barcelona and Manchester United. We don't give a fuck about you. That's why we don't have a big atmosphere for you, because you're not fucking worth our while.
Well, I was going to ask you about the linesman, but I think we best move on. But wild, that, isn't it? Though?
Wild. Do you know, that's another one. I don't know whether did you see it in the ground or know what was going on?
I didn't know about it.
They showed the clip right at half time in Sky, and I've gone off to get something to come back, and they just showed the clip.
I heard a lad behind me, was the first I knew about it. He was getting messages off his mate who was at home, like, and he's going, apparently the linesman's elbowed Robbo.
But the clip I saw, right, was Robbo going off the pitch, holding his chin, going, he's just fucking elbowing me, he's just elbowing me. And I'm thinking, brilliant. Like, one of Arsenal's players has elbowed him and he'll be getting sent. And then they came back after the break and they were like, they showed the clip. Yeah. Like, no, the linesman's elbowed him.
Do you think, I mean, we're now doing it, but do you think, when I've thought back about it, did you see, well, obviously you did see, when Robbo boomed the ball at him, do you think he had a cob on basically because of that? Because he was like, you shouldn't judge, but we all do. he's all like the linesman's
Big
like
fella.
a bit beefy, like looks like he looks after himself and all that. All his
Which you don't
hair's
usually see,
perfect
do
and
you?
all that. And I just thought, like, did he feel, was the ego pricked a little bit when Robertson absolutely boomed the ball at him to put it out to play, and it smacked him? Because when he did it, I thought that looked like it might have hurt that, and he just sort of stood there, all like Incredible Hulk style, going, "Didn't it, lads?
Yeah,
Not on that."
puffing his chest out.
And I just wonder whether, when he saw it, Robbo, did the chimp go, "That's him from before"? Boom.
Yeah, he's had a little second, hasn't he?
Yeah.
There was a part of me, I don't know whether you'd be the same, there was a part of me that was like, fair play, lad. Do you know what I mean? At least, because think about it, the linesmen and referees traditionally are like shit houses, aren't they? They're like knobheads.
Yeah.
That's why they're shit. That's why they don't get any respect. And that's, remember Kalina? Like everyone loved Pierluigi Kalina because he was just a fucking big brute, wasn't he? He'd face up players and be like, "Don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do you." And you could see players be like, "All right." And so there was an element of it where I was like, fair play to you, lad, but you're not allowed to fucking elbow footballers.
No, you're definitely not.
Yeah.
You're definitely not. And when we've had like the endless debates about like respect and setting an example and all this, they've surely got to come down on him. And probably by the time you're listening, they have done.
Yeah.
Internet challenge then. We've got 10 minutes or so left, I think. So we want to talk about ChatGPT again, just because, as mentioned on previous shows, it's now becoming a bit of a thing for me to just have a little sit down.
It's my favourite thing. I want to set up a camera in your house just to watch you. Just whenever you say, like, I just want you to send me a message saying, "Lad, I'm having a chat with ChatGPT and I'm going to say to you, just turn on the camera then so I can watch it like Gogglebox." Do you know what I mean? You fucking fuming. Going, "You fucking lying again. You fucking bullshitter." I love how much it lies though. Doesn't it? It's mad.
It's fucking mad. Honestly, it is. So like, I started going on, like, I've mentioned before that I'm, a fan of Oasis and what have you. So I started putting questions in and about Oasis. Now, a good thing about ChatGPT, and a little tip for you if you're having a go of it, is to ask it to do things in the style of people, and you get more interesting answers. Then don't just try and like use it like Google. Ask it what Steve Jobs would do or whatever, and you'll get more interesting answers. Anyway, I was asking about Oasis and all this, and about Liam Gallagher. And I said, write a tweet about the Beatles in the style of Liam Gallagher. So it comes back with, "Listen up, you Parker monkeys and psychedelic trippers. The Beatles were and still are the dog's bollocks. They changed the game, man. None of us would be here without them. Lennon and McCartney were the real deal. No fucking doubt about it. All hail the Fab Four."
I was going to say to you, make sure you do your Manc accents.
And then I got it to do one about Scousers as well. Got him to do one about Noel. The one about Noel was a bit mad. Noel always running his mouth off, ain't he? Thinks he's the cat's pajamas, he does.
Cat's pajamas.
What the fuck's the cat?
I can't believe you didn't get into that with him. What's the fucking cat's pajamas?
And then it goes, "I don't need no fancy ass scissors player to make me music sound good." I thought that was good knowledge, like, because
that's good. That is good knowledge.
Because Noel did have a scissors player, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Liam did take the piss out of him. This made me laugh though. I'm a big advocate for tea. Thanks again to John, who's provided some Barry's tea, which is impossible to get in Liverpool anymore for some reason. Presumably, probably something to do with Brexit or something. So yeah, thanks for that, John. But yeah, I put, write a tweet about PG tips in the style of Liam Gallagher. So it comes back with PG tips, fucking shite, mate. Who drinks that stuff anyway? Not a proper cuppa. If you ask me, if you want a real brew, you've got to go with Yorkshire tea or Tetley's. None of that weak-ass PG tips nonsense. I'll stick to me morning cuppa and me cigarettes. Thank you very much. Thought that was quite good. Yeah. That's not bad. So I asked her about Manchester United. Then I said, write a tweet about Manchester United in the style of Liam Gallagher. So this is where it starts to go fucking bizarre. Yeah. Like, where the fuck's it getting this from? It goes, "Manchester United, mate, the greatest football team in the world. I've been a Red Devil since I was a little nipper, and I will be one till the day I die. The treble in '99, unbelievable scenes, and don't even get me started on Cantona, the king of Old Trafford. So let all them City fans and Scousers say what they want. We know who the real champions are." And I'm sitting there going,
aye.
A City fan? Like, well known for being one. So I just went back. Liam Gallagher's a City fan. My apologies. As an AI language model, I do not have access to real-time information or current events, and based on my knowledge, cut-off of September 2021, Liam Gallagher was known to be a fan of Manchester United. Bollocks. However, he has recently declared his support for Manchester City. Now, if he has, then that would be my mistake.
He's a very...
He's never been a Man United fan. What the fuck you on about?
He's a very interesting... Why do I think he's a he? Because he's bullshitting.
I know, yeah.
That's fucking sexist, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's a bullshitter, so I think he's a he.
You're misogynist.
Yeah, fucking sexist against my own fucking gender. But it's funny the way, like, the way it replies to, like, with gaslighting and stuff like that. It's like,
What?
if he's recently declared his support for Man City, then that would be my mistake. It's like, oh, fuck off with your passive-aggressive fucking half-arse apologies. It's fucking... And I love the way that's its general. Every time you challenged it, that's its get-out-of-jail-free card, isn't it? It's like, my apologies, I'm an AI language model. I don't have access to real-time information. But isn't that funny as well? My knowledge cut-off is September 2021. Is that when they just stopped putting information into it? Why?
I know.
But still,
even so,
like he's a City fan his entire fucking
and he's
life.
been knocking around since the 90s, and he's quite famous, and he's known for being a City fan.
Yeah.
And like, I don't, you know, even with your cut off, you should have known, because I said he's never been known as a Man United fan, and it's like, I apologise for the error, blah 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 blah. I can make mistakes. I appreciate your feedback. To the best of my knowledge, cut off date of September 21, Liam Gallagher's football allegiances were not entirely clear, although he has. And then starts this black, although he's previously been seen wearing a Manchester City shirt.
Yeah, you didn't say that before, did you? You shit out.
Again, I apologise for any confusion. So I said, okay, so you can now do it again, a tweet in the style of Liam Gallagher about Manchester United. Of course, my apologies for my previous inaccuracies. Here's a tweet in the style of Liam Gallagher about Manchester United. All right, here's the deal. I might have been seen wearing a City shirt before, but let's get one thing straight. I bleed red. Manchester United till I die, mate. And don't even try to tell me they're not the greatest team in the world, because we are. From the Busby Babes to the treble in 99, we've got history, we've got class, and we've got the trophies to back it up. So all you City fans can jog on, and all you Scousers can stick to singing about fields of shite. This is Manchester United, and we're the kings of the football.
Oh, it's the greatest impression ever. I mean, I love that. I love the way he's like, oh, I'm sorry, mate. Yeah, I'm sorry. My mistake.
It's like someone in the boozer who just won't back down.
This is my
it?
thing. I think we've touched on this week, and more and more I'm starting to realise, after having my head blown originally by like, it's amazing this and all that, now I'm realising it's just that bullshitter, you know, which is probably why I think it's a fella, because it's always fellas who are bullshitters like this, aren't they? It's the bullshitter, you know, who... You can just call, if you don't know they're bullshitting, people they get away with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know fellas like this, and for people who don't know them, like, oh, he knows loads, doesn't he? Like, he doesn't fucking know anything. He's full of shit.
Yeah.
But for anyone, when they're around anyone who can call them out, they just shit themselves and like.
Well, I said, did a Manc program you?
I love that question.
And I was developed and programmed by OpenAI, an artificial intelligence research laboratory headquartered in San Francisco, California. While some of my training data may come from sources based in Manchester, my programming and development were not specifically carried out by a person from Manchester. I asked it as well, like some like mad ones, like I was saying, like if Liam Gallagher had a hotel, what would you call it?
Do you know what I loved about this though? You just wanted to see if it could come up with one as good as yours.
Yeah, mine was
like,
better.
Yeah, well, you prick.
It came up with like champagne supernova sweets or something. Yeah. And I was like, what about Some Might Stay?
I know. Some Might Stay's a good name, but I could tell you were sitting there going, yeah, see if it comes up with one as good.
And then I asked it about a cafe, and it came up with a shit suggestion for that, like Liam's Tea Rooms or something.
Yeah, what did you
And I was like,
with?
what about Roll With It?
Roll With It. Yeah, that's good actually. I loved the bit though about you asking about Well Read magazine.
Oh, that was wild. So like I edited Well Read magazine. I fucking set the thing up. You know what I mean?
And presumably, I don't know this, but presumably there were never any other editors. It was just you. It was your magazine, wasn't
My
it?
name was on it,
like, I love how many tweets, like, there are many messages.
So I just said like, who was the editor? The current editor of Well Read magazine is Dave Kelly.
Who the fuck's
Dave Kelly? Completely made it up. Then I said, well, who's Dave Kelly? I couldn't find any information suggesting that Dave Kelly was the editor of Well Read. You just said he was. You've just said he was.
White Bowl, I think.
So I said, you just said he was the editor. My apologies, I must have misspoken earlier.
Yeah, that's
Dave Kelly was not the editor, and I do not have information on who was.
But that's pure American bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I misspoke. No, you didn't. You
So
lied.
I said you lied then. And it goes, I apologise for the confusion earlier. I made an error. I do not have the capability to lie, as I am a machine language model.
Yeah.
Fuck off. What else did we have? There was loads on Well Read. I had a big backwards and forwards with it. It made up some madness as well about like the real people who were mentioned on the show the other week, saying like they had a big link to Warrington, and I was like, "There's no link to Warrington from Bootle. Where's the link to Warrington?"
But didn't it basically then said, well, everyone's got a bit of a link to Warrington because they might have been there.
It said
like, that's not a link.
The real people, a band from Liverpool, do not have a direct connection to Warrington, but they've played many gigs in and around the Warrington area. Fuck off.
What was the one
Shite.
about Richard McElkenny?
Oh yeah, one of the Birmingham Six.
Yeah, didn't he say he was the editor of Well Read?
And I was like, he's one of the Birmingham Six, and it was like, he's not. And I was like, he is. And it was like, he isn't.
He's not. He's got a fucking Liverpool fanzine.
But you can put links in. You can send her a link
How
back.
is that? Yeah.
So I sent her a link.
So it reads it then?
And it reads it, and then it says, I apologise for the confusion. You're right, he was one of the Birmingham Six. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. So I was like, so he didn't edit Well Read then.
I love this though. People can't see what your actual message was, but you put screenshots in our agenda. And so it replied to one saying, no, that's not correct. Richard McElkenny was not one of the Birmingham Six. Blah, 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 blah. And your reply was just, he was. like you're in a pub with the gobshite going, he fucking was.
Honestly, it's like, it's boss. You can have if you're bored, you can basically have an argument with it. That's what I'm using it for. Like, can't you someone should just invent argue bot? You know, like, do you remember on the Monty Python sketch where you could go to a room, knock on the door, go in and go like, hello, I've come for an argument. And like John Cleese would go, no, you haven't. I have. You haven't. and then he'd stop and he'd go, classic, have you paid for the 15 minutes or have you got the full half hour?
I love the way everyone else is fucking like, what can artificial intelligence do? Can it save humanity? Can it save jobs? And you're like, can't we just have one that fucking argues with us?
Every Thursday, I think it's going to be glass of wine and an argument with ChatGPT. It's been great so far. Yeah, I think that was most of the ones that I wanted to say about the Liam Gallagher ones, the Birmingham Six fella, this Dave Kelly fella who definitely didn't edit Well Read.
But then there's the stuff about it, like it literally is making shit up about people now, isn't it? Did you see the thing? I think you sent it to me. It's actually made up, and this is the fucking big bit. It's writing its own art, like making up its own articles.
Journal articles, yeah.
To confirm stories it's saying are true. So it's like, no, this was in The Guardian. And then The Guardian are like, we've never written that article. Yeah,
ChatGPT, it gave wrong advice about breast cancer, experts found. And then they warned that it was sometimes inventing journal articles or even health organisations to back up its claims, which is wild. It also falsely accused a law professor of a sex attack against students during a trip to Alaska that never happened. So there's obviously like a defamation issue developing with it as well now.
But did you see the one that hired?
They just put like this little shit thing at the bottom. It just says like free research preview. It may produce inaccurate information about people, places, or facts. Oh, Sam.
Yeah.
You know
well, that just gets around defamation laws.
But it's creeping into like news. It's been in articles. People are using it in research.
Well, did you see there's 100? It got on day one. They got 100 million users. Yeah. It took TikTok 9 months to get to 100 million users.
So isn't it quite clearly like a little bit of a danger here now that it's like going down a bit of a mad path? I mean, you know, on a slightly like, you know, that's serious, but then, I mean, I don't know if you've all seen this out there. Someone programmed it up to a Furby.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah.
I love the shit people.
So they took the Furby apart and used one of them, what are they called, Raspberry Pis, or someone who's listening who knows about that's probably buzzing off. It's not called that. It's called something like that. So, it is Raspberry Pi. There we go. Thank you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's some little computer geeky programming thing. So yeah, it's using ChatGPT and a Furby. It's got a Furby to like talk about that it had plans for world domination.
Yeah. Do you know what I loved about it though? Like if you watch the video where it like they ask it the question and it just sits there like it's like blinking while it's got and it goes. It's basically going, give me a minute.
Yeah, hang on.
Let me have a think. Hang on.
Oh,
and
hang
then
on.
it goes like, it stops and goes, I'm nearly done. Wait. I'm going to start doing that to
almost
you.
done.
When you ask me a question, I'm just going to sit here blinking.
Yeah.
And then go, wait, hang on, I'm nearly done.
Yeah, another pause with its beak left slightly ajar. Almost done, it said, before revealing a plan for world domination. Furby's, in case you're wondering, Furby's plans to take over the world involved infiltrating households through their cute and cuddly appearance, then using their advanced AI technology to manipulate and control their owners. They'll slowly expand their influence until they have complete domination over humanity.
Yeah, that was its answer,
I mean, the next series of Black Mirror is going to be amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
if he's
they're
not
fucked.
I mean,
It's
like,
all real life now.
I know, yeah.
So
Like, what else can you invent now?
There's no point
Do you
trying to invent
remember the
something.
episode where you could like rewind your life?
Oh, yeah.
And,
Mate,
like,
I had to stop watching it.
It was wild, wasn't it?
It got too freaky for
Yeah.
me. And then once I realised it was happening in real life, I was like, oh, this is not for me.
Right,
But,
we're done. We're done.
we could talk about, we could do a whole show about ChatGPT.
Vote on the Crunchin challenge, please, while you can. Before
Monster
Monster Munch, flaming hot. And do, as I said before, continue to like stuff, review stuff, comment, share it with your mates and all that. I mean, we've done 10 episodes, but we are still very much at the experimental stage. I think we're going to have a chat, aren't we, about what we're going to do next and where we're going to take it. If you've got any ideas for that, let us know. Is the particular chat you want us to have? Do you want more footy stuff, less footy stuff, more crisp, less crisp, whatever? We are listening, we are reading. We do look at all the comments, as you can see on TikTok, as I'm prepared to argue with yet more people about something Kobe said. But yeah, that has been this week's late challenge.